everybody. Welcome to another episode of our show, Storytime with Becky. Today's story is going to be about Elisha the prophet. Once upon a time, there were two kings, the king of Israel and the king of Syria. The king of Israel loved God very, very much, but the king of Syria did not know God. So the king of Syria was planning a trick against the king of Israel. The king of Syria didn't like the king of Israel very much, so he was plotting against him. God didn't like this idea of hurting the king of Israel or his people, so he chose the prophet Elisha to help him. God showed the prophet Elisha the trick that the king of Syria was planning on doing against the king of Israel, and asked Elisha to go warn the king of Israel, so that way he could run, or he would be better prepared against the king of Syria. So Elisha ran and he informed the king of Israel, and they were protected. When the king of Syria heard about his spoiled trick, he wanted to know what happened and who was responsible for it. When the king of Syria heard that Elisha was involved and that God was using Elisha, he wanted Elisha arrested. The king was furious and ordered his entire army to go find Elisha and bring him to the king. The soldiers found out where Elisha was staying, and they charged with all of their chariots and all of their swords and all of their spears to his house. They found Elisha's house and surrounded it. In the house, Elisha was staying with his servant. When his servant looked out the window and he saw everyone coming after them, he was so afraid. He warned Elisha and he said, "How are we going to defeat this? There's so many people out there that want to hurt us. What are we going to do? Do you have a plan? How are we going to escape? There's so many of them. There's no way that they're not going to see us sneaking out." And you know what Elisha said? Elisha said, "Do not be afraid, because there are more of us than there are of them." What a powerful thing to say. But the servant didn't understand, because as far as he was concerned, the only people in the house were him and Elisha, and there were hundreds of the king's army ready to attack them. The servant didn't understand what Elisha was saying. There are more of us than there are of them. So Elisha prayed to God, and he asked God to show the servant what he saw. What do you think it was that Elisha saw? And when his servant looked out of the window, he looked up to heaven, and he saw all these angels riding down with chariots and horses and swords with fire and flames. The servant saw thousands and thousands of angels riding down to earth on their chariots with all of their horses and swords and flames. And the servant was so shocked about what he saw. Now he finally understood what Elisha was saying. There are definitely way more angels than there were of the army of the king. The servant and Elisha were not afraid. They knew that God was going to deliver them from this, and believe it or not, because all the angels that came down stood in front of Elisha's house, so that way all of the king's armies could not get through. They could not knock on the door, they couldn't get on any windows, nothing. They couldn't get through at all, and Elisha and the servant were kept safe and sound. God sends his angels to protect us every single day. In everything that we do, he has angels guarding us and guiding us and keeping us every single day. So it's very important that we remember that this is happening. It's important that we remember to be good kids so we can keep those angels around us. If we're doing bad things and the angels are sad, they're not going to stay where we are. They're going to be sad and they're going to go away. So in order to keep God's protection and to keep those angels around us all the time, we must try to remember to always do the right thing and to always keep a pure and simple heart and to always keep our focus on God so he can protect us and keep us always. Thank you for watching another episode of Storytime with Becky. I'll see you next time.